Welcome to Getting to Know God. We thank you for sharing your most precious asset, which is your time with us today. We want to thank our sponsors, William Ford and William Ford LLC. We thank you for just tuning in. In today's video, we're going to talk about the plan of God. We're going to talk about what is the plan of God and how do you know the plan of God and where do you fit in God's plan. If you don't know the plan of God at this point in your life, you're probably frustrated to wit's end. The plan of God is nothing that you haphazardly stumble over. You won't just happen to run across it. You won't just happen to discover it. You have to intentionally seek out the plan of God. And the thing that we find in life is that there's a lot of people who are going from one bad decision to another, who are going from one bad situation to another, and can't really seem to get out of their own way. And the large reason because of that is because oftentimes we have plans that don't line up with God's plan, and we have ideas and concepts that don't line up with God's concept. And so by getting to know the plan of God, you can remove a lot of the frustration and headache in your life. Um, One of the things I want you to think about is the fact that um, the plan of God is the power of God. So what does that mean? The plan of God is the power of God, and if God gives you His plan, He also have to give you His power. I want you to think about that because if you have God's plan, you also have access to His power. God didn't send you here and give you a plan and not give you power to carry it out. But in addition to power, there also has to be purpose. God would not give you power and not give you purpose. That would be the equivalent of giving a toddler car keys. You never give power without giving purpose for the power. Because when you do that, that's when abuse setting in, and we can see throughout world history there's been a lot of abuse that has taken place. But the plan of God is the most important thing that you can find. And so in the book, we talk about God's plan. What is God's plan for you? Where do you fit in it? What's your role? And because ultimately that's what you're going to be judged by. Did you perform what God sent you to here to perform? Did you achieve what God sent you here to achieve? And so we're going after a lot of things in life. We go after cars, we go after money, we go after boats, we go after 401ks. But your number one pursuit should be the plan of God for your life. And so, how do you find out if you're operating in the plan of God? Um, well, you can't necessarily go by how things are going because the Bible says that the rain falls on the just as well as the unjust, and so uh, circumstance and situation is going to happen to us all. The biggest way to know, one of the biggest ways to know if you're functioning in the plan of God is do you have inward peace, not outward peace, but because things can be going terribly wrong around you, but do you have peace to know that you're functioning the way that God would have you to function? That inward peace would allow you to sleep when everything else is going wrong. That inward peace would allow you to be calm when things are actually falling apart. Because what I found is sometimes when we think things are falling apart, they're actually falling into place. And so we have to make the distinction between God's will and God's plan and our own plans. Sometimes we are frustrated because our plans aren't working out. And if you have a plan and God have a plan and your plan is contrary to God's plan, someone plan has to fail in order for someone's to succeed. So in the book, um, it's broken down into three sections. So the first section is the plan of God, and it talks in detail about how to figure out if you're in God's plan, where you're in God's plan, and what is God's plan specifically for your life. So, as best that we can, we try to make it as simple as possible. I always say sometimes less is more because oftentimes we have a lot of great teachers, but sometimes um, God didn't intend for you to have a doctor's degree to get to know Him. God didn't intend for you to have a master's or go to seminary school in order for you to come to understand what is His plan for His life. And so it profits God nothing for you to be frustrated trying to figure out his plan for your life. Just like it wouldn't profit my kids anything for me to hide what it is that I want from them. And so God clearly lays out what his plan is. And the the wonderful thing about knowing God's plan is that you not only help yourself, but you also help those around you. Think of it in this term, and we talk about it and we describe it this way. Think about if you're on a team, and you're on a team, and the coach is calling plays, and everybody goes to the huddle to get the play, but you. And you're whether standing at half court or you're standing in the middle of the field, and everybody else gets the plays, and everybody else lines up, and everybody else knows their role and what to do when the ball is inbound or when the football is snapped. Everybody else know what to do. If you don't know what to do, you're going to be in somebody's way. You're gonna be in an area in which someone else is supposed to be in, and you're gonna stumble over somebody. You're gonna knock somebody down. You're gonna be in someone's way. And what I found is a lot of us are in other people's way because we don't know God's plan. And so God's plan is one of the most important things that you can ever figure out in your life to make sure that you're functioning. And it's going to remove a lot of frustration, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. And so in Genesis, God clearly lays out a plan for man. In Genesis chapter 1, he tells us to have dominion over the earth. And so with that dominion, there's power, but also with that power, there's purpose and there's responsibility. Hope this video helps someone. Tune in to the next video. And as we always say, there's a million ways to get to know God, but there's only one way to get to God.